The 1970s were a wild era of engineering, a time when crane makers pushed limits harder than ever before. Massive booms, insane lifting power, experimental designs, and machines built so tough they could hoist loads that modern cranes still struggle with. But despite their unbelievable strength, many of these giants were forgotten, lost in scrapyards, locked in old photos, or remembered only by the operators who saw their power firsthand. Get ready, because these are the 10 forgotten cranes from the 1970s that could lift almost anything. Number 1. PNH670TC. The PNH670TC was one of the most underrated lifting machines of its generation. Released in the early 1970s, this telescopic truck crane was designed at a time when America was building bridges, factories, and highways at a rapid pace. The 670TC didn't have fancy electronics or computer-assisted stabilizers. Instead, it relied on brutally strong steel sections, rock-solid outriggers, and powerful hydraulics that could operate even after years of abuse. Operators loved it because the crane was forgiving. If a modern crane senses the slightest imbalance, it shuts down, but the PNH670TC kept working as long as the operator knew what he was doing. With a lifting capacity hovering around 70 tons, it became a favorite for rigging companies, industrial yards, and construction crews. What made the 670TC special was its reliability in extreme conditions. Whether it was scorching desert heat, freezing mountain winds, or muddy construction sites, the crane performed with the same consistency. Many companies kept their PNH cranes well into the 1990s and even the early 2000s because replacement parts were easy to find and the machines rarely failed. Operators still claim that PNH machines of that era had smoother control feel than many new cranes today. Even though new technologies eventually pushed it aside, the PNH670TC stands as a symbol of American engineering that emphasized toughness over complexity. Today, only a few beaten-up survivors remain in scrapyards or small industrial yards, quietly reminding us of a time when cranes were built to last a lifetime. Number 2. Tadano TL300. Before Tadano became a world leader in crane technology, it produced a series of rugged, mechanically simple truck cranes in the 1970s that helped define the brand. The TL300 was one of the most iconic, at around 30 tons of lifting capacity. It may not sound extraordinary today, but in the 1970s this crane was a game-changer for its size, versatility, and reliability. It had a long, smooth telescopic boom, fast setup time, and a reputation for clean hydraulic control. While many European and American cranes were massive, fuel-thirsty giants, the TL300 proved that a smaller, more efficient machine could still lift serious weight. The TL300 found homes in shipyards, road construction projects, and industrial plant maintenance. Operators particularly praised its dependable hydraulic system, which rarely leaked and delivered predictable power. This was during a time when hydraulic failures were common on job sites, especially in hot climates. Tadano used superior seals and high-precision machining, which set the company on a path to becoming a global player. Another remarkable thing about the TL300 was its portability. Built on a compact but powerful chassis, the crane could travel through narrow streets and tight construction zones where larger cranes struggled. This made it extremely popular in Japan's rapidly growing cities during the 1970s. Today, surviving TL300 units can still be found working in rural Asia and Africa, living proof of engineering excellence that refuses to be forgotten. Even though modern cranes overshadow it in capability, the TL300 remains one of the most influential lifting machines of its time. Number 3. Liebherr HS883. The Liebherr HS883 is one of those cranes that feels almost mythical. Built during the mid-1970s, it was originally developed as a heavy-duty crawler crane for dragline operations, lifting, and deep foundation work. With a massive lifting potential far exceeding what most cranes could handle at the time, the HS883 was a brute force machine capable of hoisting enormous loads. Its lattice boom design wasn't just strong, it was over-engineered to survive constant stress in harsh conditions like mining pits, dam construction zones, and industrial megaprojects. What separated the HS883 from its competitors was its insane pulling power. As a duty cycle crane, it was designed not only to lift but also to drag, pull, and handle repetitive heavy loads for hours at a time. The crane's robust diesel engine, oversized winches, and thick steel construction made it almost impossible to damage. It could run day and night with minimal downtime, earning it a reputation among operators as the crane that never quits. A notable chapter in its history comes from the Middle East during massive oil infrastructure expansion. The HS883 was used to install pipelines, lift prefabricated steel sections, and even assist in the construction of early offshore loading terminals. Despite being a 1970s machine, it performed tasks that some modern cranes struggle with today. Though newer models have replaced it, the HS883 remains one of Liebherr's forgotten legends, a machine that pushed the limits of lifting technology long before the digital age. Number 4. Coles Argus 60-ton. In the 1970s, Coles Cranes was one of Britain's most respected crane manufacturers, producing strong, reliable machines used throughout Europe and the Commonwealth. Among its forgotten giants was the Coles Argus 60-ton crane. Built on a formidable chassis with a long, high-strength telescopic boom, the Argus was a serious contender in the global crane market during its peak. It was used in steel factories, shipyards, highway construction, and by military engineering units. What made the Argus stand out was its brilliant combination of highway mobility and heavy-duty lifting capability. At a time when most large cranes were crawler-based and slow, the Coles Argus could drive long distances quickly, arrive at a project site, deploy its outriggers, and begin lifting within minutes. This made it incredibly valuable in rescue operations and emergency infrastructure repairs. The crane's cab was also ahead of its time. With improved visibility, ergonomic controls, and comfortable seating, it reduced operator fatigue, something not many manufacturers cared about in the 1970s. Engineers also appreciated its rugged mechanical systems, which were easy to service anywhere in the world. Today, very few Argus cranes survive. Some remain abandoned behind old factories or rusting in British scrapyards, forgotten relics of a once dominant crane industry. But during its time, the Coles Argus 60-ton model was a machine that could lift almost anything thrown at it. Number 5. Demag HC510. Demag was already a respected name in heavy machinery, but the 1970s HC510 crawler crane took the brand's reputation to another level. This crane was built for extreme lifting tasks, bridge sections, power plant components, refinery structures, and large mechanical equipment. The HC510 had the kind of brute lifting force that made it indispensable for mega projects. With a lifting capacity well beyond 100 tons in certain configurations, the HC510 was not only strong, but extremely stable thanks to its massive crawler tracks. These tracks allowed it to move around job sites while carrying heavy loads, something truck-mounted cranes could never do. This mobility gave it a strategic advantage in large construction zones, where repositioning was essential. Engineers loved the HC510 because it was modular. The boom sections could be assembled in different configurations depending on the height, reach, and lift needed. This level of flexibility was rare at that time, and companies could use the crane on multiple types of projects simply by swapping boom sections and counterweights. While the HC510 was built for long-term reliability, time eventually caught up with it. Modern crawler cranes outperformed it with digital load management systems, lighter alloys, and advanced hydraulics. But none of that changes the legacy of the HC510, a forgotten machine that once dominated heavy lifting and set the stage for modern crane engineering. Number 6. Grove TM1400. The Grove TM1400 wasn't just a crane, it was a statement. Released during a period when the construction and petrochemical industries in the United States were booming, this crane brought serious lifting capability to a mobile platform. At over 140 tons of lifting power in its top configuration, it was one of the strongest truck-mounted cranes of its era. Most cranes at the time either offered high mobility or high lifting capacity, but rarely both. The TM1400 shattered that barrier. Built on an extremely rugged truck chassis, the crane could travel at highway speeds, making it perfect for contractors who needed to move quickly between sites. Once on location, its powerful outriggers and long telescopic boom allowed it to perform lift after lift with surprising stability. Many operators said it felt overbuilt, as if Grove made everything thicker and stronger than necessary. During the 1970s and early 1980s, the TM1400 became a common sight in major industrial zones, especially the oil refineries and large factories of Texas and Louisiana. Its ability to lift heavy heat exchangers, boilers, massive pipes, and steel sections made it invaluable. Today, only a handful of TM1400 units still exist, mostly in private industrial fleets. Yet its influence on modern all-terrain cranes is undeniable. The crane was a pioneer that proved mobile machines could lift almost anything. Number 7. Manitowoc 4100W. If there is one crane from the 1970s that refuses to die, it is the Manitowoc 4100W. Released in the late 1960s and dominating through the 1970s, this crawler crane became a legend in North America. Its lattice boom system, ultra-tough crawler tracks, and powerful engines allowed it to lift enormous loads with outstanding stability. Even today, in 2025, some contractors still use 4100Ws because they are simple, dependable, and unbelievably strong. The 4101 was used everywhere. High-rise construction, oil rigs, shipbuilding, bridge installations, and even dragging massive objects in duty cycle operations. Its winches were so powerful that operators had to be extremely careful not to rip apart the loads they were lifting. That kind of strength made the crane incredibly popular. One of the most fascinating things about the 4100 watt is that many of its surviving units have over 40,000 operating hours. Modern cranes would never survive that long without major overhauls. But the 4100 watt was built during a time when manufacturers believed in making machines that lasted decades, not years. Though overshadowed by newer machines, the Manitowoc 4100 watt remains one of the most iconic cranes ever built. It is not just a forgotten crane, it is a legend hiding in plain sight. Number 8. Hitachi KH150. In the 1970s, Hitachi was already well known for its excavators and industrial machinery. But the KH150 crawler crane showed the world that Hitachi could compete with the best in lifting technology as well. With a lifting capacity around 50 to 60 tons, the KH150 wasn't the largest crane of the decade, but what made it special was its reliability and adaptability. The KH150 was built for mixed construction environments. Bridges, railways, industrial plants, coastal projects, and even offshore installations. Its strong lattice boom, durable crawler system, and heavy-duty winches allowed it to perform constant repetitive lifts without overheating or wearing down. Operators noted that its hydraulic system was incredibly stable for its time, offering smooth motion and precise control. The crane thrived in Asia's fast-growing urban centers during the late 1970s. It helped build apartment blocks, commercial centers, and industrial plants. In many developing countries, the KH150 became the go-to heavy lift machine because it could be repaired easily and performed well even under poor maintenance conditions. Today, the crane is almost completely forgotten outside Japan, but its legacy lives in the design philosophies of modern Hitachi crawler cranes. Number 9. Kato NK-450. Long before Kato became a global brand known for reliable mobile cranes, it produced the NK-450, a 45-ton powerhouse that dominated construction across Asia in the 1970s. Compact, rugged, and surprisingly strong for its size, the NK-450 became a favorite for contractors building roads, bridges, and mid-rise buildings during the decade of rapid industrialization. Its telescopic boom was designed with high-strength steel that allowed it to extend farther and lift heavier loads than many competitors of the same class. Operators appreciated the crane's stability, which was particularly important in regions with uneven terrain or poorly prepared job sites. Even without modern leveling sensors or computer assistance, the NK-450 managed to perform accurate, safe lifts in demanding environments. The NK-450's diesel engine was another highlight. Known for being fuel-efficient and extremely durable, it allowed the crane to operate for long hours with minimal downtime. Many small construction companies preferred the NK-450 because it was cheap to run and easy to maintain. While newer Kato cranes eventually replaced it, the NK-450 remains an important piece of the company's history. The crane helped shape modern construction in countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, India, and the Philippines, yet today it is rarely mentioned, a forgotten hero of Asian infrastructure. Number 10. American 93110. The American 93110 was one of the heaviest-duty cranes produced during the 1970s. Manufactured by the American Crane and Hoist Company, this giant crawler crane could lift extraordinarily heavy loads, making it essential for mega projects such as dams, factories, power plants, steel mills, and large bridges. With a lifting capacity exceeding 200 tons in some configurations, the 93110 was among the strongest cranes of its time. The crane used a massive lattice boom system that could be extended to incredible heights, enabling lifts that modern cranes sometimes struggle with. Its dual-engine system provided unmatched power to the winches, allowing for rapid lifting cycles. Engineers particularly valued the crane's stability. Its gigantic crawler tracks distributed weight so effectively that it could operate on surfaces where other cranes would bog down or sink. One of the most remarkable aspects of the American 93110 was its toughness. It was built using extremely thick steel and industrial-grade components that allowed it to withstand intense daily workloads. Throughout the 70s and 80s, contractors relied heavily on the 93110 during the construction of America's industrial backbone. From nuclear power facilities to massive factory complexes, the crane played a crucial role in shaping modern America. Although nearly forgotten today, replaced by technologically advanced crawler cranes, the American 93110 remains an underrated legend, one of the greatest lifting machines of its generation. These forgotten cranes were the unsung heroes of the 70s. Machines that built cities, dams, bridges, and mega projects, then vanished as new tech took over. But their raw lifting power still shocks the industry today. If you enjoyed this look at the giant's time left behind, hit like, subscribe, and tell me which crane deserves a comeback. Thanks for watching, because the next video reveals even more forgotten machines that were far stronger than anyone remembers.